So if you were here last year, you remember Alfie Meister speaking. And for those of you that weren't here, she was an amazing woman who went to Macintosh back in the day and was homeless. And she related how Eve McIntosh would drive to pick her up every day wherever her family was. And from this opportunity, she is now a medical doctor. I'm not this woman. I'm telling you my own wandering story of how I came to be here. And along the way, I hope that you laugh a little bit and also think a little bit about why what Macintosh does is so important. My name is Joe Pausback, and I teach the 5th and 6th grade students at Macintosh Academy. My wife Lara teaches the 1st and 2nd grade class. My son Sam started at Macintosh when he was in pre-K and graduated last spring and is currently a freshman at Littleton High School. And my son, go Lions! That's what the mascot is. And my son Henry is currently in the 6th grade. Actually, this is Muhich, and he's tearing up his exhibition project. Loving every step of it. But it's amazing to me that I would be up here talking to you because I was not identified as a gifted child. I was the youngest of a large family, and I did everything I could to not stand out. And spent a lot of time sitting in the back of classrooms daydreaming about other places I wanted to be, which was not inside the classroom. The 1970s, 1980s in Aspen, Colorado were not a time and place where people talked about attentional issues. And for me, medication was outside, in the snowfields and mountains and canyons and rivers of western Colorado. And somehow, I persevered and got myself to college and got a degree and got a teaching license. And in the fall of 1998, responded to a classified ad in the Denver Post for a 5th and 6th grade teaching position at a little school called the Macintosh Academy. Probably one of the last people to be hired from a classified ad in the Denver Post. And found myself in the office of Trip McIntosh for a job interview for a 5th and 6th grade teaching position. And wow, I totally lacked the actual experience to project the sense of confidence that you need in order to get a job, and I lacked the improv skills to fake it. And together, Trip and I leafed through my student teaching portfolio, and somewhere in the middle of it, he remarked, "You know, you look like a duck, but you don't yet quack like a duck." And I should have been offended, but I wasn't. Because it was, in fact, so true. And that was the amazing thing about Trip McIntosh. He could see right through you and x-ray the very core of your being. And last fall, when Trip and Whitney were back on campus for the 40th anniversary, we laughed about this. Trip said that was the worst job interview I've ever sat through. In this interview, he asked me to describe what I knew about gifted education, which at that moment was absolutely nothing. And true to my own humble calling, after 20 years, I finally have an answer. And so with you all here tonight, in this room, I want to finish my job interview. Mr. McIntosh, there are 5 things I know about gifted education. With all due respect to Forrest Gump, gifted is as gifted does. Gifted kids are a lot like normal kids, except things happen faster. They arrive at false and incorrect conclusions more quickly and more confidently. And the impacts of these false conclusions can be far more entrenched and far more devastating. But the corollary is also true. They arrive at the right conclusion quickly. My son Sam, when he was in the 2nd grade, was approached by a group of cool boys, I'll use the term loosely, in his class who wanted to organize a club, I'll use the word loosely, to harass the smallest girl in the class. And Sam was outraged. And not only did he not join them, he actually actively tried to disrupt them. After about a day, the teacher caught on. Sam was vindicated, and these boys, well, let's say they experienced a self-selected teachable moment, the awkwardness of that moment. Number 2, gifted kids are very sensitive. Mrs. Cates, Kelly Cates, talks about the challenges of costuming your children in comparison to the other groups of people who she works with. And finds that invariably gifted children complain about the texture, the smell, the fit. My own son Sam still needs the tags cut out of his shirts and shorts before he wear them. And Henry, as a young child, we couldn't talk about heaven or hell or God or creation or evolution or supernovas or black holes without him spending a sleepless week curled in our bedroom, moaning pitifully on the floor. Number 3, gifted kids need the opportunity to engage and struggle, and sometimes not be successful. Both of my children earned multiple C's in the 5th and 6th grade, their 5th and 6th grade years. And I did not rush to their rescue, and found myself in both the role of the parent and the teacher entering a C on their report card. A year ago, when Henry was done going through his report card, he said, "Dad, I think I did pretty well." "Really?" I said. "What can you tell me about that C in unit of inquiry?" And he looked at me, and very sincerely he said, "I understand why I got that grade, and I'm very confident I can get it up to at least a B minus." What can I say? The boy's got a growth mindset. He's very emotionally resilient. And he got his grade up to a B. Similarly, Sam, grades were all over the place, and we were all left breathless when in his 8th grade year he actually earned his way onto the honor roll and emerged from Macintosh completely confident in his ability to take on any academic challenge and succeed. Number 4, if you want to save the world, focusing on quality gifted education is a pretty good place to start. There's the metaphor of the oil tanker. An oil tanker has a huge mass, but the thing that steers it, the rudder, has a very, very small mass in comparison. Similarly, it takes just a small number of people to make big changes on our planet. And at Macintosh, we help craft this rudder that will steer humanity in the 21st century. When Sam was 5, we took him to see Horton Hears a Who, which is an environmental parable by Dr. Seuss. We were driving home, and he was quiet in the back of the car. We were pulling into our driveway, and he said, "I get that movie." "Really?" we said. So we started a lot of conversations this way. "Really?" we said. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "We live on that speck. And if humanity's going to survive, we all have to work together like the Who's of Whoville." And the final thing, 5th and final thing I know about gifted education comes from a little bit of purposeful wordplay. Gifted has the word gift inside of it. And a gift is something you get unexpected. You might not have asked for, might not quite know what to do with. At Macintosh, we build human beings by taking those talents and helping to shape them. If you further parse the word gift by removing the letter G and the letter T, you're left with the word if. There are no guarantees in education. In the general population, there is an attitude that gifted kids will figure everything out on their own, but this is not necessarily the case. Gifted students are highly likely to drop out of school, struggle with emotional issues, and underachieve. Talent is distributed equally across humanity, but seats in public school gifted programs are not. The majority of these seats are in affluent neighborhoods, leaving students in impacted neighborhoods to figure things out on their own. Together we can provide the opportunity to satisfy if for more students. As a farmer might tell you, if's an important word. If the wind blows the right direction, if seeds fall into fertile soil, if the rain comes at the right time and lasts a good amount of time, if weeds and pests are kept at bay, then maybe, just maybe in the fall, there will be a harvest. So, to complete this story, Tripp did not hire me. He hired another lady, but gave me the opportunity to teach, to be a co-teacher. And 6 weeks later, he fired the lady that he'd hired in my place. He called me up that night and said, "We want you to take her place, but we don't want you to do it until next year, because you're not ready." But I'm in debt forever to Tripp and Whitney McIntosh for making McIntosh what it is. And if you've ever had a child who was in Patty Weston's PE class, they hired her. If you ever have had a child who was in a unit of inquiry, completed a seminar project that was planned by Mrs. Munch, they hired her. And if your child has ever had a shaving cream smelling test or shared a piece of cheese with Mrs. Lambert at recess, they hired her as well. Tripp said to me, "I want McIntosh to be the best school in the world for gifted kids." And we live that vision every single day. Thank you all very much.
But I am at a school, and I'm so glad to say that Joe is